Welcome to Tech Talk with WSU Tech, where we dive into all things WSU Tech and highlight the voices within our college community. I'm Dr. Sheree Utash, and today we have the honor of chatting with Justin Maples. Justin, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me, Sheree. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. So we always like to start this off by having you introduce yourself and tell us about what your role is and how you contribute to the mission of the college.
So I'm the ACE Program Training Coordinator. It's kind of a long name. But so what I do is I go out and try to drum up business with the ACE program, do outreach as far as for high schools, other tech colleges. I even talked to a military base yesterday in Salina that I'm going to get involved, and industry. We're very interested in getting industry involved in ACE.
So what does ACE stand for, and what's its role in the manufacturing space? Because this is a new role for you.
Absolutely.
Very new role.
Yeah.
So what does it stand for, and what does it mean in the manufacturing space?
So ACE stands for America's Cutting Edge. So it's brought on by a machining program. So that's what we're doing is a machining program. It reaches other areas as far as metrology, robotics, the composites. So it's not just machining, but it's a 5-day training course. We bring people in, they go through the course, maybe high schoolers, maybe potential WSU Tech students or employers, veterans. We bring them through this 5-day training, and throughout the 5 days, they learn just a little bit about everything that a machinist goes through in their daily life. Well, so they build a part per day, and at the end of the 5-day training, they put this part together, and it's an actual air engine that runs. So we have like a competition between all the participants who can put it together the fastest and who can make it run. So it's a really cool training for people to go through just to see if they want to be involved in machining or not. You know, they've got 5 days out of their life. Plus, it's free, totally free.
So it's kind of an awareness, building awareness, kind of an exploration into that career then for people that are either in high school that don't know what they want to do yet, or adults that might think that they want to upskill, reskill, or change into a different career. And then the military piece is those in the military that are separating, retiring, whatever the case may be, at looking at this as a career. Is that
Absolutely.
Is that it?
So yeah, and that's why it's a deep dive into 1 week of training, you know, just to see if you're interested in machining. I haven't had a student go through it yet that's not interested or that didn't get interested. But instead of enrolling in an 8-week course or a 16-week course to go through college, this gets them whether or not they want to do that. And that's what we're hoping is, you know, they go through the training and after the training they say, hey, you know, we love that so much. We want to get our degree in machining.
So how many people have you taken through this? And I know it's relatively new, but how many people have gone through this already?
I just turned in my monthly report yesterday, and 108 is how many people. Yeah.
Okay, all ages.
All ages. So we've had from 16 years old to 60 years old. And, you know, we've had them from that age gap, we've had them in class together. So you've got the little 16-year-old that don't even know what CNC stands for, all the way out to the 60-year-old that's been in some kind of industry, but maybe they're wanting to upskill, reskill, or maybe they're wanting to change their whole career path, you know. So you get that excited 16-year-old over here with the 60-year-old that, you know, has never been in a college setting except for this. and they bond together. It makes for an awesome training.
So I noticed that machining enrollment for fall is up.
Yeah.
Is this contributing to that?
I would like to say yes. I think that students going through this are going out and by word of mouth. I think that's contributing some to machining being, or machining numbers being up, but I can't say for sure that that's what it is.
Yeah. So how did we get involved in this?
So Scott Lucas, he calls me up and he says, "Hey, I'm going to send you to this training. All right, it's in Knoxville, Tennessee." I'm great. Let's do it. He says that you're going to go to this training. It's going to be fun. It's free. See what you think. So I get the paperwork a week before I go, and it says, "Hey, you've got to do this online and this and this," and I'm like scrambling around trying to get everything downloaded to do this online part, and so I get out there and I go through the training, and I thought it was just going to be another machining training, somebody trying to tell us how to teach this or how to do this in the machine shop. We get out there I got out there and I saw that, hey, this is a cool thing. This is something that we need to put all of our students through. We need to put industry through. We need to add this to our curriculum, and so I tell Scott all that, and I told Mark Scott how awesome it was, and then I didn't hear anything about it for a little while, and we'd put in to be a spoke, for IACME and ACE. So
and tell us what IACME means.
IACME is the federally funded corporation that ACE is under.
Okay.
And it started out as a composites instead of machining, but ACE transitioned it over into machining. But we'd put in to become a spoke, and we actually got the grant to become the spoke, and then we put in to become the hub, which we got the grant to become the hub, and that's where my job came from, is us becoming a hub,
Which is a grant.
Yeah, it's a grant. It's a federally funded grant, and so what we're going to have after July, after I have this next train the trainer, is we're going to actually pick some spokes, that'll be off of our hub that we will actually take care of, and then they will do ACE trainings.
So then it just starts growing. The numbers start growing because you have more people doing. You're going to do train the trainer, and then others will be doing this in their communities.
Absolutely. And so we're looking at high schools, we're looking at tech schools, at industry, and after yesterday when I talked to the guy from Salina, I'm really thinking that we need to make the military, one of our spokes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you said all different ages.
Yep.
Does having those different ages in those training groups, does that challenge them, or does one group do better than the other, or do they just kind of challenge each other and become and learn to be more collaborative and work in teams?
The way that the trainings are set up, it's not challenging. It's really cool to you take 2 people at a time out to the machine, and I will teach one person how to do this part, and when they get done with that part, then they teach the person that's with them.
Nice.
Now, I'm standing right there.
Sure.
Or one of our
Sure.
faculty are standing right there.
Yeah.
But after I teach, one person, the next person teaches the next person. And I mean, it's great when you have, like I said, a 60-year-old teaching a 16-year-old, and then that 16-year-old has to teach who's next, and that may
That is
be
really cool.
that may be a 40-year-old, so they learn to all work together. That's the biggest thing that we do, and we've always done that in our machining classes. Is you have to work together.
So when we think about industry challenges in the world of machining, how's ACE addressing those, and how does what ACE is doing then align to all of our employer needs? Because that's what we always try to do, is solve their problems.
I think the biggest challenge, and it's not that I think, I mean, it's a fact, the biggest challenge in workforce or in industry is workforce. I mean, we have such a low number.
It's the talent pipeline.
It's the talent pipeline. And so what ACE is doing is we're getting people interested, whether it be in machining or manufacturing or assembly, because it's all in that ACE program is machining, manufacturing, and assembly. I mean, going out there and doing quality control. It's all right there in that 1 week package. And industry is seeing that, hey, if we can send our assemblers, or we can send people that's shown up to work every day as janitors into this ACE program and give them a week's worth of training, we can transition them right into the manufacturing part of our facilities. And that's what I've been trying to tell most of the industry that I'm talking to is, you can train somebody to run a machine, you can train somebody to measure a part, but you can't train people to show up every day. So I said, you take those people that are, lower paid, and there's nothing wrong with being a janitor, but maybe that janitor don't make as much as a machinist. So you take that guy that's shown up to work every day for 20 years, move him over into the machining department, and you've got yourself a machinist.
So it's like self-identifying people within industry, and then they could have them go into this free 5-day training to see if this is something they think they'd like to do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's a really cool pathway.
Yeah.
How's industry responding to it?
It started
it's
off.
New.
Yeah. When I started talking to industry about it, they're like, oh yeah, we'll talk to you, and you know how that goes. For the train the trainer this summer, I have 2 supervisors from industry that are coming through the train the trainer, and they're both very good machinists, but they want to go through the program to see what the program can do for their companies. So
when's your train the trainer?
July 7th through the 11th.
And how many do you plan to have in that?
I think I'm going to have 11.
Okay.
They like to cap it. ACE likes to cap it at 10, but I'm not going to turn 1 or 2 away if I get
That's
more
the
than
Justin
that.
I know.
That's right.
So let me ask you this. You talked about the hub and the spoke. How many spokes do you want to put on the hub that we now have?
So to get what we need for the grant, there's 3.
Okay.
I want to do 6 this year.
Okay.
Is my goal.
Okay.
And then we're supposed to do another 3 next year. I would sure like to have 12 by the end of next year. And somebody can say it's not to outdo what we said we would do, but it is. It's ego thing. I want to.
It's over delivering.
That's right.
Underestimating,
Underpromise.
under promising, and over delivering.
That's right.
Will that be Wichita people? Will that be Kansas, or will that be beyond the state?
So, I am. I'm serving Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, and Nebraska.
That's a good swath of a region.
It's pretty good swath. And I've got Missouri, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Kansas coming to the train the trainer in July. I don't have anybody from Nebraska yet, but I'm going to have.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's very cool. So what does the long-term success of ACE look like?
Man, I really think that uh, us using it as implementing it into our classes
Mm-hmm.
and people going through, the program. I think that as they move out into industry, after they go through our program, they're gonna they're gonna be using the ACE program in industry because they're gonna remember, hey, this is what I went through.
Mm-hmm.
This is what got me interested. When I was in the 8th grade, this is what said, hey, I want to be a machinist.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the long term is way better than what we got going on now because we're going to have all these people that are trained. Like I said, I've got 108 right now, and we've been doing it for a year.
That's amazing to me. So I love the uniqueness of the concept of this. Number one, it's building awareness to young people of what this career could be. But I love the fact that you're identifying within industry people that have work ethic and have a strong work ethic and could maybe create greater economic prosperity for them and their families through this training.
Absolutely. That's what I went through. I when I moved here from Missouri, I was making $9 an hour, and I was working my butt off, and I was pouring concrete, and I moved here, and I got the opportunity to go to school at WSU Tech. Actually, it's WATC at the time, but I got the opportunity to go through that school, and when I got out, people started spitting out numbers that I could, what they was wanting to hire me at.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's what it's all about is everybody wants to have a career and everybody wants to make money.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've been in a career, for quite a few years now that I absolutely love. That's what I'm trying to get out there to, industry is let's put these guys and these gals in careers that they love where they can make, some good change and have a retirement,
So a lot of people may or may not know this. You went through the program when we were at WATC.
Yep.
You went out to industry and worked after you graduated.
Yep.
And then you came back and applied for a faculty position in the machining department.
Absolutely.
How many years ago?
July 20th will be 10 years.
Okay. I figured it was 8, 9, 10.
Oh, yeah.
And then you came back into the classroom, and then you started this new position about almost a year ago.
Yeah, I officially
Roughly.
started it the 1st of 25.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, I mean, an exciting trajectory for you. And, there's nothing I love more than, growing our own.
Oh, yeah.
And I've loved watching the progression of you as a student and your professional career as well. Thank you for being on here. Thank you for what you're doing on this new program. I love the innovation of it. I love kind of the disruption of the recruiting. And I appreciate you coming on Tech Talk today.
Well, thank you for having me.
You bet. Thank you for tuning into Tech Talk with WSU Tech. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Until next time, stay connected and keep exploring the incredible work happening here at WSU Tech.